In this video, I'm going to show you how to build this really simple and effective lean-to trellis that Jennifer shared in the MakerPipe community. And this is a really great design and really easy to make. And we're just going to, kind of go through and I'll show you the different techniques and things involved if you want to recreate these. And first of all, these are made with off-the-shelf electrical conduit. You can get that in the electrical aisle of pretty much any hardware and home improvement store, and you'll find it in various sizes. And Jennifer used 3/4 inch EMT conduit. To cut conduit, if you don't know, you can just use a handheld tubing cutter. Really easy to do, just requires some patience, but that's just about it. It's a hand tool, really easy to do. And then the fittings that we're going to look at throughout the frame are made by us in upstate South Carolina, and you can use those to join pieces of conduit together as we're going to highlight, and you can build all kinds of awesome stuff. And Jennifer used them to make this trellis, and there's a few different connectors that were used, and we're going to highlight those. And then we can see here that this trellis is working out great. She's got plants climbing on it already, and we're going to talk about the different things that she used within this frame and the different techniques. So first of all, we've got this design, and again, this is meant to be a lean-to trellis, and it's made so she could easily move it around. So if she wants to move this, around her garden or, in different areas, she can do that really easily. And so I don't think there's anything at the bottom of this to hold this in place. If you wanted this to be more secure, if you didn't plan to move this around, you could put some rebar stakes down here on the ground and then slide the empty conduit over it. That would work well to kind of hold it and stabilize it in place. You could also, secure it to the wall or something if you're putting this up against a fence or something like that. But in this case, it's just meant to be kind of a freestanding thing that leans up against the side of this house here. And so essentially, it's just a vertical, and you can cut this down to size, like I said, with that handheld tubing cutter and get the dimensions exactly how you want it, but it's just a vertical on each side. And this looks to be probably like 8 or 10 foot. It might just be a full stick of conduit. Can't really tell exactly, but it's probably like 6 or 8 foot, honestly. But like I said, you can customize that exactly how you want it. But then down here, we've got our first couple of MakerPipe connectors, and these are the T connectors that she used. And if you're not familiar with MakerPipe connectors, like I said, we make these in upstate South Carolina, and you don't have to do any welding or any drilling, anything like that whenever you're building with them. They're made to just clamp around the conduit, and the T connector specifically has a piece of conduit coming out the bottom of it that goes to the other T connector here in this build. But that bottom part of the T connector, it just clamps on there, and you don't have to do any welding. It just kind of holds the conduit in place really securely, just with that friction-based fit. And so we've basically got the T connector grabbing onto the vertical going up, and then we've got that crossbar going between the two T connectors. And then up here, towards the top of the frame, we've got that exact same connection done again. We've just got two T connectors with this cross support going from one side to the other, just terminates in the T connector, and then goes over just like that. And that's pretty much just a simple, two-dimensional rectangle that you can create, and people use this technique for building all kinds of different panels and whatnot. But essentially here, because the piece of conduit is running through the top half of the connector, and it's running continuously through it, there's a short piece of conduit kind of going up through the T up here, and it's this blue vertical we've already marked, and that's extending up just a few more inches past the T connector. And then Jennifer used a 45-degree connector up here. So we can see here, it's a 45-degree connector just grabbing onto this stub at the top, and then there's an angled piece of conduit coming out of that 45-degree connector that's extending to the wall. And it's pretty much that exact same thing on this side over here, just a piece of conduits coming out at a 45-degree angle connected with that 45-degree connector there. And we can look at this other trellis that's exactly the same right next to it and see these connectors in action better without all the markings on it. We've got the 45-degree connector up there, like I said, making that kind of angled support. And then she also put a rubber pipe foot to kind of keep this from, dinging up the wall, which is a good idea. Those work really well in situations like this. And then essentially that's pretty much the whole frame. Really nice and simple. And then you can customize this based on the plants that you're wanting to support. She's got cattle panel on here, which are working well, and we can see in that other photo that we'll highlight in a second. But this is kind of a large grid system for the plants to grab on. We've also seen people, just secure actual netting, and that isn't metal. You can do, just trellis, just a single trellis string coming off of it, or a couple going down to the ground. People kind of customize their trellises depending on what they're growing. But in this case, she's got some vines climbing up, so she's using this cattle panel and essentially just secured that to the frame with some zip ties. There's just quite a bit of zip ties just holding this in place. And I think she's using just the classic nylon zip ties. We've also talked about metal zip ties on the channel, and those work really well in outdoor builds because they're stainless steel. So you might consider those if this is going to be up and you want it to, last for several years. But that's essentially the entire trellis frame put together. And if we go out here and look at this other photo, we can see she's got some plants climbing up, and it's working out great. You can see there that it's working really well, and the plants are loving it, which of course is the goal of this. So that's really cool, and just an awesome build from Jennifer. I really appreciate her sharing this. Hopefully this was helpful to you, and you can use this in your garden. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those down below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.